Thank you, guys. First of all, I want to thank both Betsy and Mary Jo for that beautiful introduction, and most importantly, for their friendship over the years. Both of you guys have been there through some very difficult times in my life, and as we all know, in a big picture, titles, number one rankings, all come and go, but friendships stay for a lifetime. So thank you. It's such a great, I have to lift this up, sorry. It's such a great honor for me to be standing here in front of you. Last year I got a little bit of taste of this when I inducted Betsy's husband, the late Mark McCormack. So I knew what I was coming into. But still, standing here, I'm just a bundle of nerves. So excuse me if I take my time a bit, because I usually speak very fast. And with my accent, I know I'm hard to understand sometimes, but I'll do my best. I would like to thank the Tennis Hall of Fame for what a wonderful job they have done in preparing this event, congratulating my fellow inductees. And what an amazing group all of us are joining here today. As a little girl growing up in my former hometown of Novi Sad, I could only dream that maybe one day I would be inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame. I still have a hard time believing that it is actually here, and that I'm in the Hall of Fame amongst all the other great tennis stars, and some of them who have been mentors of mine who inspired me. Someone like Billie Jean King, who is the founder of the WTA Tour, the Women's Sports Foundation, and was my Fed Cup captain. My Fed Cup and Olympic teammate, Mary Jo Fernandez. And as a young girl, when I joined the tour at age 14, pretty much that was my home. I grew up on the WTA Tour, and what an amazing place to grow up. I had to grow up very fast under the media spotlight because I started doing so well. And as most of you know, it can be challenging at times. But I also would like to recognize all my fellow great competitors who I faced over the years. And I would like to do something that they can remember me by, because they heard this sound many, many, many times over the years. And for once and for all, I will say that it was never done intentionally. So I will try to do a grunt here. But it won't be like the original grunt. So for all good old time's sakes, here it is. I just had to do it, sorry. In all seriousness, just really, my fellow competitors, as Mary Jo mentioned, tennis is really difficult to have friendships on the tour while you're playing, but I've been very lucky to have had such close friends as Betsy and Mary Jo, and they put up with my little quirks over the years. Like, I'll never forget Mary Jo when I just became a U.S. citizen in 1996, and I was playing my first Fed Cup in Tokyo. And I had one of my freak out moments, and at 2 a.m. I just called Mary Jo. I said, Mary Jo, I need to talk to you. And Mary Jo was very kind to calm me down, and I was able to go back out on the tennis court and win our Fed Cup. Also, I also probably wouldn't have had I look at my career in two stages. Obviously, the first part, when as a youngster I won all these great titles, and as a second part after I came back after my stabbing in 1993. And I probably wouldn't have come back if I didn't hang around Betsy and her joy for the game and Mark's love of the sport and just her smile. Then going over to their house, practicing a few times, realize how much I miss the sport. So I wanted to say thank you, Betsy, for that, for bringing me back to the game of tennis. I wouldn't be standing here without a lot of people. And from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank a few people because they have just been part of my team. And they have been there for me when I was #1 in the world, when I didn't play for 2.5 years after my stabbing, and when I came back for a brief period #1 and then went down to all the way to, I think, #6 or whatever before I retired, which when you're used to being #1 is catastrophe, trust me. And the names that go would be, first would be Stephanie Tollerson. I would like to thank Nick Bollettieri, the entire staff at the Academy, where as a little youngster at age 13, I joined, and they made me feel so welcome. I honed my skills there hour after the hour. I would like to thank my honorary coach, former mayor of New York, Mayor David Dinkins. Thank you, Coach. Coach has not missed a single one of my matches at the US Open. But most importantly, he gave me an invaluable advice, which has really helped me through some very difficult periods in my life, is to be happy. All out comes and goes, but be happy. So thank you, Coach, for that. I would like to very much thank someone that I believe is watching us today from heaven together with my dad, and that is the late Mark McCormack. Mark has been a huge influence in my life since the day, as Betsy mentioned, I was 13 years old when I first met him, and really guided me through the difficult waters of the tennis world, and most importantly made sure that I kept my feet on the ground. And really, through Mark and Betsy, I learned to love tennis again. So thank you, Mark, for that. I would like to thank his beautiful daughter, Maggie, for coming today. Thanks, Maggie. I would like to thank my friends Peg and Marty Rauch and their families for being there for me for so many years. In tennis, it's sometimes nice to have friends who are non-tennis playing friends because you need that break where you can just have a little bit of a reality set in terms of there are more things important than winning and losing. And as both Mary Jo and Betsy know, I wasn't so good when I lost. So thank you guys for everything. I'd like to thank also the Yoneyama family. And I would like to personally thank Ben Yoneyama for flying all the way from Tokyo to be here today. Thank you. Ben, your families and the entire Yonex team support from day one when as a 16-year-old girl, I won my first Grand Slam. And staying with me through the difficult years of the stabbing, and your unwavering support of me through the highs and lows of my career means I can't tell you how much it means, and I'll never forget that. And to the entire team at Yonex, I know how much hard work goes into making every single one of my rackets, and that's, I think, why you've never seen me crack a racket in my entire career. Because after Mr. Yoneyama took me to their factory in Tokyo, I realized how much hard work goes into every single one of my rackets, even the ones that I strung at 103 pounds. Yes, you heard me correctly, 103 pounds. Someone who has guided my career since we both met as teenagers, Tony Gotzik. Tony and I kind of grew up on the tour together. And Tony have been an amazing agent. So I want to thank you, Tony, for everything that you have done for me during my career. But even more importantly, for being there as a friend for me. Because there were quite a few calls in the later stages of my tennis career when I called Tony and I said, this is it. And Tony's calm words would just say, just take it easy. And sure enough, I would come back and actually win a few more tournaments. So thank you. And most importantly, Tony, thank you for your friendship throughout the years. I wouldn't be standing here without my family. I think everybody in the stands knows how important family is to us. And as a little girl, when I first picked up a racket at age 6, I never imagined where this magical sport called tennis would take me, and how much fun I would have. I've never felt that tennis was a job to me. It was always fun. And for having 2 wonderful parents who never put any pressure on me, and I really hope that can inspire other parents who are raising future tennis champions to make sure that the children have fun, because that is the most important. The reason why we start playing tennis as kids is because we want to have fun, and we never should lose that. I'd like to thank my mom, and everybody used to ask me where I got my mental toughness. Well, she's the answer, so thank you. My mom never played any tennis, but she was the best coach I could ever have. She would always tell me, why didn't you just hit the ball there or there? And like, Mom, don't you think I know that? But these balls are coming at quite fast speed at me. But thank you, Mom, for all the coaching advice, and really just for keeping things always in a perspective for me. Even when I won my first French Open at age 16, and I started getting a little bit of a big head, and I thought I knew it all, and she put me right back. She told me, make your room and be downstairs for dinner at 7 o'clock. So thank you. I would like to thank my brother, Zoltan. Without him, the countless hours he practiced against me, he was the one that I always wanted to beat. He's 8 years older, and I always felt if I could only beat my brother, I actually have a shot at playing professionally maybe one day. Well, it took me a very long time to beat him, but that challenge kept me going, and he really inspired me to want to work harder and put in all the hard work, and he was there all along with me doing the same thing. So I would like to thank him. And really, I owe my tennis career to my father, who as a little girl spent countless hours with me on the tennis court. But most importantly, he made sure that I always had fun. And I know that without my dad's support, knowledge of the game, I would have not won all those titles and really not played such aggressive tennis, I guess I can say that word, where I hit the ball on the rise and really try to dictate the points, which now Serena and Venus have taken it to a whole different level. And as a tennis fan, I very much look forward to watching where the game is going to be going and how much faster it can get. My dad, as most of you know, is unfortunately not here, but I truly believe both him and Mark are watching us from heaven. And would just like to say thank you, Dad, for everything that you have done for me, and I owe all my success to you. So thank you. And in closing, one of the things I felt very strongly about when I learned that I was being inducted into Tennis Hall of Fame was donating all my trophies to the museum. I really encourage you guys to go up there and walk through the museum, because the memorabilia that they have is truly magical. I know all my trophies have a wonderful home, and most importantly, I hope it will inspire young children to pick up a racket, go out there, hit a few balls, and hopefully fall in love with the sport like I did. And in closing, I also would like to thank all my tennis fans who have been with me through day one. When I was a 16-year-old player, I became #1 through my stabbing and throughout my comeback. So thank you guys very much. And I know a few of you have come a long way to be here. So thank you very much for making that effort. It means a lot to me. At this same time, I also want to say hi to everyone that's watching us on TV right now. And to all the tennis lovers here in the stadium, thank you guys for coming out year after year supporting.
You are watching the induction ceremony. Monica Seles being inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Let's head now to Bill Talbert Center Court.
Even though on grass, I try to play as least as I can. But the grass courts here are beautiful. And I look forward to hitting on them hopefully one day with Mary Jo and Betsy, just for good old time's sakes. So in closing, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the wonderful memories. And thank you to the Hall of Fame for bestowing this wonderful honor on me.